After Chen Sanjing went to sea to make a fortune and started a company, he sent his subordinates to pick up me and the children. My mother-in-law questioned, "How busy is Sanjing that he can't come in person to pick up his wife and children?" The messenger stammered, but I pieced together a fact from his words. During the years Chen Sanjing was at sea, he fell in love with the nurse on board, and now they are passionately involved, so naturally he has no time to come pick us up. The mother-in-law picked up a broom and started driving the visitor out the door. "Get out, you heartless man, sway sway, we're not going. We may not have much, but we have our pride. Even if I have to sell everything we own, I'll help you raise these 2 children." But I shook my head in response to my mother-in-law's concerned gaze. "Mother, it's been so many years since I last saw Sanjing. I miss him terribly." My mother-in-law's eyes flickered. "Sway sway, 3-legged frogs are hard to find. But 2-legged men are everywhere. I promise, I'll help you find someone even better than him in the future." But I pursed my lips and shook my head again. "Mother, I know you care about me and the children, but Sanjing is my husband, my everything. He's finally returned safely from the sea, and I must go to him and take good care of him." The mother-in-law sighed. "But that dead boy is all cozy with the nurse, isn't he? He won't welcome you even if you go." The mother-in-law's mouth opened and closed as she desperately tried to convince me that since Chen Sanjing no longer loved me, I should have some pride and not go looking for him again. In my previous life, I did indeed listen to her words, resolutely sending away the people who came to pick us up. And when Chen Sanjing sent someone to ask again, I snapped back defiantly. If Chen Sanjing truly wanted to bring us, his wife and children, back, he should have come himself after the people who came to pick us up returned. Clearly, he doesn't care about us at all. If he doesn't value us, we won't go begging for his attention either. But what happened later? I stayed in my hometown taking care of my in-laws, struggling to make a living from the land while raising 2 children, while Chen Sanjing, in the big city, married a young and beautiful nurse and had a lovely pair of twins. Those 2 children received the most advanced education and lived a life of abundance, while my children had to toil in the fields with me. When I was 50 years old, Chen Sanjing drove back to the village in a car with his wife and children to repair the ancestral hall and pay respects to our ancestors. The old woman knelt on the ground, trembling. "Ancestors, bless us, our old Chen family has finally produced a college student. Thankfully, I helped Sanjing stabilize Sway back then. Otherwise, how could our family's ancestral grave have been blessed with such good fortune? My own son, having worked in the fields all year round, grew into a dull and simple farmer, marrying a village girl. My dear little granddaughter, overjoyed to receive a piece of candy from Chen Sanjing, happily came to share it with me. Grandma, look, it's candy. The wrapper is so pretty that Grandpa even drives a small car. I've never seen such a beautiful little car before. But all of this should have belonged to me and my child. Why should I give up the splendid life that was within my grasp just to prove a point? Thinking of all the hardships and suffering I endured in my past life, I was so angry that I slammed things down with a loud bang. My mother-in-law frowned and said, Sway, why won't you listen to advice? Mitsui is now a big boss, and if the boss's wife is illiterate, it makes Mitsui look bad too, since he has a woman he likes. Let's have some pride and not get tangled up with him. In the future, when others mention you, they'll still give you a thumbs up. I turned my head and looked seriously at my mother-in-law's seemingly concerned face. Mom, did Mitsui promise you that if you help him keep me in check, he'll arrange jobs for my older brother and second brother in the company? My mother-in-law looked uneasy. You silly child, what nonsense are you talking about? I snorted coldly. I hope not. Use your head and think about it. I came from our village. If I want to establish myself in the big city, I'll definitely need our own people there. But if it's the little nurse that Chen Sanjing is so fond of, a city girl, an only child, well-educated, from a good family, do you think she'd be willing to mingle much with you country folks? My mother-in-law froze, and I pressed on. And besides, if Sanjing makes it big, wouldn't you want to go to the city and enjoy the good life too? All these years, my daughter and I have never had a cross word. If it were anyone else, would they be able to accommodate a country old lady like you? The mother-in-law's lips twitched, and she finally sighed. Alright, it sounds as if I don't want you and Sanjing to be together. When I arrived, Chen Sanjing was holding a bag of pastries and talking to a pretty girl. Shuqin, these are your favorite peach shortcakes, try one. The woman who once looked dignified and elegant from afar was still a fresh-faced young girl. Brother Chen, you should keep the tasty treats for yourself. Mom mentioned last time that you've lost weight recently. Chen Sanjing's eyes were glued to Shuqin's lovely face. Shuqin, you're so wonderful. I've already settled things at home. Once everything is settled over there, we'll get married, and then you can help me recover properly. Shuqin's face flushed like a rosy cloud. Yet she still responded crisply, Brother Chen, I'll be waiting for your good news. I squeezed my son and daughter's hands, and they immediately trotted over, hugging Chen Sanjing's legs and shouting, Dad, I missed you so much. Dad, you're back from the sea, why didn't you come home to see us? Chen Sanjing was utterly bewildered as the two children clung to him. Shuqin, let me explain. Those were all women my parents arranged for me to meet back in the day. I have no feelings for any of them. It was only when I met you that I truly felt my heart skip a beat. No feelings at all. How could Chen Sanjing even say such a thing? Back then, it was Chen Sanjing who fell in love with me at first sight in the fields and then sent someone to propose to my family. After we got married, he was always cheerful. Sway. I'm really lucky to have such a virtuous wife as you. Sway. We're going to have a son and a daughter. The son will be like me, and the daughter will be like you, before setting sail. It was also Chen Sanjing who held my hand and cried, Sway, I'm leaving my parents and children in your care. Wait for me to come back. It's only been a few years since we last saw each other, and now we've become a couple with no feelings at all, just going through the motions of a matchmaking arrangement. A man's words are as deceitful as a ghost, but having been reborn, what I care about is certainly not the elusive love of a man. Shuqin's eyes instantly reddened. Didn't you say they wouldn't come to disturb us? After saying that, the little girl ran out as if chased by a wolf. Chen Sanjing's gaze remained fixed on the little girl until she had run out of sight. Only then did he frown and look at me, asking, What are you doing here? His son Zhuang, sharp-eyed, asked, Dad, what is this? Did you buy it specially for us because you knew we were coming? His daughter Xiaoman, sweet-tongued, chimed in, Brother, what kind of question is that? Who else would Dad buy it for if not for us? Chen Sanjing forced a twisted smile and replied, Of course, it's for you. Come, tell your dad, have you been good and obedient at home all these years? The three of them, father and sons, walked ahead, while I, carrying a small floral bundle, trotted along to keep up. The people in Chen Sanjing's courtyard laughed, saying, Has Boss Chen brought his wife and children over? As we walked farther away, I could faintly hear women gossiping. Wait. Isn't Boss Chen supposed to marry Shuqin from the nursing station? Exactly. I heard that too. So why did he bring his wife from back home? So, while sending someone to pick us up, you were certain we wouldn't come and had already announced the news of marrying the nurse to the public. If he can actually go through with this marriage, then my rebirth would have been in vain. After putting the two children to sleep, Chen Sanjing stared at me with a somber expression. Sway. How have you been all these years? Now that there are no outsiders, I want to have a heart-to-heart talk with you. I just looked at him quietly. Chen Sanjing wiped his face. You know me, our old Chen family for 3 generations back have all been rough and unrefined. And your old Li family has been digging in the dirt for generations. Now I've made money, started a company. But at the end of the day, I'm still just a rough and unrefined man. You saw that little nurse today, she's well read, can play the piano and paint, and her family is a scholarly household. If I could marry a wife like that, as he spoke, Chen Sanjing gave me a meaningful look. I was so angry I laughed. So what, Chen Sanjing? What do you mean? It seems that in my previous life, I was sensible enough not to come to the city, which saved Chen Sanjing a lot of trouble. Now that I'm here, he naturally wants to find every way to get rid of me. Chen Sanjing rubbed his hands together. I, Chen Sanjing, am no coward. You gave birth to 2 children for me. In the future, after I discuss it with Shuqin, I'll let you live in our house too. As for the 2 children, I'll also persuade Shuqin to treat them as her own. So, you want to marry 2 wives? Chen Sanjing waved his hand. No, no. Shu Qin is a new woman who has been educated abroad. How could she agree to share a husband with someone else? Then what are you dreaming about? Chen Sanjing said with confidence. We haven't gotten a marriage certificate. When the time comes, you can move into our house and just say you're a live-in nanny. Shu Qin will still be my legitimate wife, and our 2 children can also receive the best education. When people are speechless, they really do laugh. I picked up the plates and bowls from the table and threw them out the door. Chen Sanjing, I'm going to fight you. I've been working hard at home taking care of your child, and you turn around and make me come to your house to be your nanny. And you even said you'd let a woman from the big city be my child's stepmother. Do you think I'm dead? Let's go. I'll go with you to the police station right now and ask if there's any reason in the world for this. The sound of dishes and bowls crashing to the ground startled everyone in the entire residential compound. Chen Sanjing's face turned ashen. What are you making a scene for? Aren't you ashamed? I'm just discussing this with you. Do you even understand what it means to discuss? I ran out crying, tugging at one of the older sisters gathered in the courtyard. Sister, please help me reason this out. Chen Sanjing says that since I never registered our marriage, I should stay in his house as a nanny. The older sister spat in disgust. I can't stand hearing men spout that nonsense. Saying there's no affection because you met through a matchmaker. When you were getting into bed back then, I didn't hear you say there was no affection. Now that you have several children and have met someone younger, prettier, and better off, you start talking about no affection. If you ask me, people like that should be locked up in the police station. A few other women also pointed at Chen Sanjing and said, we haven't been to school, and we don't understand big principles, but we know that a person must act with a clear conscience. How dare you say there's no affection in front of the 2 children, and even want their mother to be a nanny? There's no such reasoning in this world. Soon, these indignant women were pulled back by their families. I quietly memorized their faces, planning to build closer relationships with them in the future. As the crowd dispersed, Chen Sanjing's expression turned extremely unpleasant. Li Sui Sui, do you think this is still the countryside? Do you think you can make a scene however you want? Have you no shame? What is face? In my previous life, I cared so much about saving face, but in the end, it was just a matter of clinging to pride while suffering. In this life, I only want to live well. What's the point of saying all that useless stuff? Give me all the money you've earned. I'm raising 2 children. They need to eat, wear clothes, and go to school. Chen Sanjing's expression was indescribable. You can't even read a single word, and you still want money. I made a move as if to run into the yard and shout. Chen Sanjing's eyebrows furrowed into a deep crease. Fine, fine, here you go. As soon as I got the money, I bought meat right away and made a delicious pot of braised pork for the 2 children. Watching them finish eating and lazily bask in the sun in the yard, I couldn't help but let my tears fall. Given a second chance at life, my children and I are determined to live well. But the good days didn't last long before Shu Qin came to the house with red eyes, pleading for help. Brother Sanjing, my father found out about us. He thinks I'm a disgrace and wants to marry me off to the countryside in the south. Brother Sanjing, you know how things have just settled down. Who wouldn't want to move to the city? Yet my father insists on sending me to the countryside. Chen Sanjing grew anxious upon hearing this. Shu Qin, don't panic. Once I've settled these women and children, we'll get married. I refuse to believe that your father would still want to marry you off to the countryside when faced with a big boss like me. Huang Shuqin's eyes filled with tears, and upon hearing this, she threw herself into Chen Sanjing's arms. Brother Sanjing, I knew it. Woo-woo, you wouldn't let me marry into the countryside. Chen Sanjing carefully wiped the tears from Huang Shuqin's eyes. Don't cry anymore, or your eyes will swell. Be good. Wash your face with some hot water first. Sui Sui, help Shu Qin wring out a hot towel. Oh, you finally remembered me. I clapped my hands. I'm almost moved by your love. Huang Shuqin shyly turned her back and wiped her tears with a handkerchief, while Chen Sanjing pointed at me. You, what kind of person are you? At a time like this, you still say such harsh and sarcastic words. Do you know how much hardship Shu Qin will have to endure if she marries into the countryside? Facing the condemning gazes of Chen Sanjing and Huang Shuqin, I spoke coldly. I know, she'll have to go to the fields before dawn every day, and won't get to eat breakfast until the sun is high in the sky. After a whole day of hard work, she won't even have time to look after the children. The 2 kids will be covered in dirt from crawling around, and she'll have to stay up late at night, working by the light of a kerosene lamp to make shoe soles for them. Not a single bite of meat all year round. Cabbage every meal, pickles every meal, no white rice or steamed buns at all, eating sweet potato until you want to throw up. And that wasn't even the hardest part. The hardest part was when a child got a fever or headache. To see a doctor in the countryside, you had to walk a long way, under the bright moon and sparse stars, passing through chestnut orchards full of graves, walking on such a road with a child burning with fever, your heart filled with fear. As I spoke, I wiped away tears that had fallen at some point with the back of my hand, looking rather disheveled. Chen Sanjing looked somewhat flustered. Look at you. I didn't say anything. Why are you crying? Huang Shuqin also sat to the side, covering her face. Sister-in-law, we're both women. Over the years, even though I've been out at sea on boats, thanks to brother Sanjing's care, I haven't suffered much. Now, to be sent to the countryside to marry someone, how could I bear it? I looked coldly at the heartache in Chen Sanjing's eyes. After all, I'm not as fortunate as you. Even when you go out to sea, my husband still cares for you. As for me, I'm alone in the countryside, farming, feeding chickens and pigs, raising 2 children, and serving my mother-in-law. I was born to a life of toil. Now that my husband has finally returned safe and sound, there's still a little temptress trying to steal him away. You've read a lot of books, so let me ask you, what is it called in the books when someone tries to steal another woman's husband, and what is it called when a man abandons his wife after becoming successful? I've heard operas singing about Chen Shamai. Shuqin, tell me, doesn't this count as a modern-day Chen Shamai? Huang Shuqin's sobbing paused for a moment, and her face instantly flushed crimson. No wonder Chen Sanjing was smitten. This young woman from the big city is truly beautiful, with delicate skin and tender flesh. Even when she's embarrassed, she looks 100 times better than a rough-skinned country woman like me. I've decided, tomorrow I'll go to the Supply and Marketing Cooperative to buy some snowflake cream, and while I'm at it, I'll get 2 gin of jujubes, plus the candy the 2 kids have been longing for. Huang Shuqin's leather shoes are really nice. Just the other day, Xiaoman mentioned that a classmate bought a pair of red leather shoes. At the time, I couldn't bear to spend the money. But now I should arrange to get her a pair too. Chen Sanjing frowned and said something else, but I didn't catch a single word. The thought of going to the Supply and Marketing Cooperative tomorrow to buy things has completely taken my mind elsewhere. I wonder if the cashier at the Supply and Marketing Cooperative will look down on me as a country woman. Not to mention, Shuqin's clothes are really nice. Maybe I should ask around on the street tomorrow about getting a set made for myself. That way, the money in hand will be almost spent, and I don't know if that cheap man Chen Sanjing has any hidden private savings, until Chen Sanjing loudly scolded, Li Sui Sui, I'm talking to you. Do you understand manners? Shuqin is still here, and I told you to prepare lunch. Are you pretending not to hear? I shrugged. Look, I'm still here, and you're already planning to abandon me and the child. She got married, and I didn't say you were being rude. Chen Sanjing, I can see it now that you've made it big. You've become much more unreasonable. When it comes to marriage, Huang Shuqin looks at Chen Sanjing with a burning gaze. Chen Sanjing wipes his face and says, since we've come to this point, Sui Sui, you can't just stand by and watch Shuqin go to the countryside. Can you? Let's stick to what we discussed that day. I'll get a marriage certificate with Shuqin, but we promise to leave a place for you. Shuqin will treat your 2 children as her own. Right, Shuqin. Huang Shuqin looks both shy and proud. Sister Sui Sui, I promise I'll treat you and the children well. I don't care whether you get a marriage certificate or not, and I don't care whether you treat my children well. There's just one thing. All the money my man earns has to go to me, and I'm the one in charge of his house. Otherwise, I'll go to the police station. I haven't been educated. I don't understand anything. I only stick to what I believe. Chen Sanjing slammed the table. What kind of logic is that? Whoever you get the marriage certificate with is the mistress of the house, you're the one earning the salary, you're the one in charge. What about Shu Qin? I flung the door open, grabbed Chen Sanjing, and dragged him into the yard. Everyone, come and judge this. My husband says he's going to get a marriage certificate with someone else, and from now on, he won't give me his salary, and I won't be allowed to run the household. Is there any justice in this world? My child and I are standing right here, alive and well, yet they treat us as if we're dead, and they even try to trick me into staying home to be their maid. Tell me, what decent girl would be so shameless as to come running to someone else's house to cling to another woman's husband? They keep talking about being cultured. Do cultured people specialize in stealing husbands? I'm putting it out there today. If I don't get my wages and I'm not allowed to be the master of my own house, I'll hang myself with my 2 children right at Chen Sanjing's doorstep. Huang Shuqin ran off in tears, utterly humiliated. Chen Sanjing was so furious that he sat there drinking alone all night. I didn't pay them any mind. Instead, I took out a piece of paper and sketched out the things I planned to buy the next day. Thinking about how happy Xiaoman would be when she saw the red leather shoes, I fell asleep with a smile on my lips. The next day, when I went to the supply and marketing cooperative, I realized that they didn't care whether you were a countrywoman or not. As long as you had money in your pocket and didn't hesitate when buying things, they would politely call you Big Sister. I was so flattered by being called Big Sister. Over and over that, I not only bought an extra pack of peach shortbread but also bought a toy for each of my 2 children. The cashier said that city kids all have toys to play with, so my Zhuang and Xiaoman should have them too. When I went to the tailor shop, I learned that making clothes in the city was so particular. From the height of the collar to the color coordination, the tailor discussed every detail with me carefully. After confirming the time to pick up the clothes, I headed home with all my bags. Just as Chen Sanjing, who had been sulking all morning without eating, was getting off work, he ran into me. His face was full of gloom, and when he saw the large and small bags in my hands, he turned purple with anger. Li Sui Sui, I thought you were as pitiful as you said, but what now? You turn around and shop endlessly. I ignored him as if he were talking nonsense, not even bothering to say a word to him. My children were about to get out of school, and before they left for school this morning, they said they wanted steamed eggs and boiled chicken legs. I had to hurry and cook for them. Chen Sanjing followed me into the kitchen. I deftly chopped green onions, beat the eggs, and set the pot to steam them. Then I went to score the chicken legs and soak them in salt. Chen Sanjing followed me around twice, his momentum also weakening. Sui Sui, I am not your enemy. I didn't even look up. You plan to let another woman replace me and live a good life. You plan to give the money you earn to another woman, and you even plan to have my children call another woman mother. What's more, you plan to kick us, mother and children, out of the house. You abandoned your wife and children, ungrateful and unjust. You are the modern-day Chen Shimai. How are you not my enemy? Chen Sanjing was very troubled. I haven't hit you, nor have I scolded you. Why are you being so unreasonable? The eggs are steamed, and I carefully take them down and set them aside. Then, I put the chicken legs into the pot to boil, all while continuing to chop vegetables with my hands. But I could be kicked out by you at any moment. I don't have a proper place here. The day you take a fancy to some other woman, I'll just be your emotionless blind date. Oh, right, the blind date who gave birth to 2 children. Chen Sanjing returned to the room dejectedly. I couldn't be bothered to deal with him, after all. Right now, the children and I just want to live a good life. If he dares not give me money to spend, I'll take the 2 kids and make a scene at the police station. At worst, it'll be a lose-lose situation. None of us will get to live a good life. Chen Sanjing couldn't do anything about me. Huang Shuqin's family was pressuring him urgently, and in his anxious state, he brought his mother over from the countryside. This time, he didn't send someone back. He personally took the train to bring his mother, as well as his eldest and second brother's families. Along with them came his eldest and second sisters-in-law. I didn't even bat an eye, back when he left for 8 years. I raised 2 children in the countryside without ever losing out to his mother or his 2 sisters-in-law. Now he's calling them here to challenge me. How ridiculous. The house Chen Sanjing bought only has 3 rooms. Originally, I shared one room with Xiaoman, Zhuang had his own room, and Chen Sanjing had his own room. Now that so many more people have arrived, Chen Sanjing had no choice but to move into the room with Xiaoman and me, along with Zhuang. The eldest brother's family took one room, the second brother's family took another, and the mother-in-law was forced to sleep on the floor in the living room, although Chen Sanjing, just like in the previous life, arranged jobs for the eldest and second brothers in the company. It would still take over half a month before the houses for their families would be ready to move into. Of course, I suspect this is all part of Chen Sanjing's scheme, deliberately bringing in so many people to annoy me, trying to pressure me into giving up, but he's been away for too long and doesn't understand that people change under hardship. During those days when we shared dried sweet potatoes and struggled together to raise our children, although my eldest and second sisters-in-law and I had constant friction, they also felt great sympathy for my current situation, taking advantage of the moment when Chen Sanjing took Beijing and urging to report to the company. I carried a basin of peanuts and sat between my eldest and second sisters-in-law. Did you know, it wasn't until I came here that I learned women can also go to work in companies. My eldest and second sisters-in-law kept their hands busy but showed some regret on their faces. But we can't even read a single character, and we're not educated people from big cities. What's wrong with being illiterate? Some jobs don't require reading or writing, as long as you're diligent and responsible. You can do them. In our courtyard, there are two sisters-in-law who came from the countryside. They work cutting fabric in a clothing factory and earn quite a bit each month. If we can earn money ourselves, we can buy whatever we want for our children, even if our own families need our help. We won't have to beg our husbands for it. The eldest sister-in-law immediately perked up, even putting down the peanuts she was shelling. Sway. Why don't you go ask those two sisters-in-law how to get a job at the clothing factory? If we can find work in the city, I'd like to see Chen Beijing still act so high and mighty in front of me. The second sister-in-law was even more of a door. When do those two sisters-in-law get off work? Let's take something to their place and visit them. Ask them to help us figure something out. Under the expectant gazes of my elder and second sisters-in-law, I pointed at my mother-in-law, who was catching up on sleep in the living room. Elder sister-in-law, second sister-in-law, we've been together for so many years, and we all know each other's temperaments inside out. Chen Sanjing, mother-in-law, and our elder and second brothers are flesh and blood. They will definitely side with Chen Sanjing. But think about it, elder and second sisters-in-law, if that new bride comes in, will she want to lend a hand to you, her country relatives? Work matters are just a word from Chen Sanjing. Of course, you might also think that since Chen Sanjing is the one in charge, whether his wife is me or Huang Shuqin has nothing to do with you. This time, by helping Chen Sanjing marry a new bride, you can also earn some goodwill from him. Then I'll be straight with you. I, Li Sway, am not one to take a loss. If I can't get any advantage from Chen Sanjing, I'll take the kids and crash to death right at the entrance of his company. I won't let Chen Sanjing have an easy time of it. My elder and second sisters-in-law straightened their expressions. Look at what you're saying, good days are right ahead of us, and you keep talking about dying. How unlucky. Don't worry, even if we don't mention how you, as the boss's wife, could help us out. Just think back to when we were in the countryside and the kitchen caught fire. You risked your life rushing into the flames to save our children. We could never stab you in the back. Hearing this, I immediately wiped my tears with a handkerchief. Elder and second sisters-in-law, you're the only ones who truly care for me. Just think, I've waited all these years, raised 2 children on my own, and as soon as he comes home, he's about to marry someone else. If it weren't for the sake of the children, I couldn't bear this life for a single day. After I had milked enough sympathetic tears from the 2 of them, I went out to pick up the children and immediately dropped the pitiful expression I had just been wearing. People are emotional creatures, afraid of your poverty and resentful of your wealth. If my 2 sisters-in-law think I'm doing exceptionally well, jealousy will take over, and they won't be able to resist tripping me up. But if I appear disgraced on the surface and suffer inwardly, they will show me extra sympathy. Sure enough. That evening, when Chen Sanjing once again stumbled over mentioning Huang Shuqin, my two sisters-in-law, without any prompting from me, recounted the hardships and suffering I endured over those 8 years, embellishing the story with tears and emotion. After finishing, the two sisters-in-law insisted on pulling my mother-in-law into the argument. "Mother, you be the judge, is there any logic in this world? What do they mean by no feelings from a blind date? We all remember it clearly, back then." Sanjing took one look at Sui Sui and was smitten, begging and pleading to marry her. How can he have the nerve to say there were no feelings now? If there were truly no feelings, where did the two children come from? Mother-in-law was caught in a dilemma, and Chen Sanjing's expression froze. What else can I do? Everyone knows about me and Shu Qin. If I suddenly don't marry her now, how can a decent young girl like her survive? I immediately burst into tears. "Mother, don't say that. Your third son is truly loyal and righteous, isn't he? He's ignoring his wife and children to take responsibility for another young girl. Why doesn't he think about how I, a woman abandoned by her husband with 2 children, am supposed to survive? That young girl still has a way out. But what about me? With 2 children, even if I die, I'd have to drag them along with me." As I spoke, I pulled the 2 children toward the door. "Let's go, since we have no way out anyway. We might as well die right at your father's doorstep, so we won't have to suffer in the future." Before Zhuang and Xiaoman came to seek refuge with Chen Sanjing, I had already privately instructed them. As soon as they saw my posture, they immediately opened their mouths and wailed, "Dad, please don't marry a stepmother. With a stepmother comes a stepfather. You drove our mother to her death, and we won't live either." Little Cabbage, yellow in the field, 8 or 9 years old, "Lost my mother, Mom. Take me and my sister with you. We won't live to hinder Dad from marrying a stepmother." The families in the courtyard who were eating heard the commotion and rushed out. The mother-in-law pursed her lips and said, "What's all this fuss? Aren't you ashamed enough?" The onlookers around pointed and commented, "I don't mean to say this, but Boss Chen is really too indecisive. If you want to marry that nurse, you should at least settle your wife and children back home properly. Bringing them all to the city like this, what kind of situation is this? I get so angry when I hear you men say things like that. What do you mean by settle down? Get rich and let your wife die? Is that it? You men are all the same, not a single good one among you. What does this have to do with me? Are you just looking for trouble? Let's go home. Go home. These 2 children are so pitiful. When they first came here, their little faces were pale and sallow. They've just started to put on a bit of weight, and now their father is about to marry a stepmother. I don't think we need to go to the theater anymore. We can just watch the Chen family's performances every day. Honestly, if they don't want to rest at night, does that mean no one else should either?" Chen Sanjing bowed in apology, his face pale with anger as he pushed me and the children back into the house. "Li Sui Sui, how many times have I told you, this courtyard isn't just our family? You make a fuss every day, disturbing everyone's peace. What exactly are you trying to achieve?" I looked directly at the furious Chen Sanjing and my condemning mother-in-law, speaking word by word. "My goal is simple. I just want to live a good life with my 2 children. The money you earn, Chen Sanjing, should be used to buy meat for my children, toys for them to play with, clothes for them to wear, and to send them to school. This is what you, as their father, should do for them." My mother-in-law's eyes darted back and forth. "Sanjing, Zhuang and Xiaoman are both good children. When you succeed, you must let the 2 children live a good life." Chen Sanjing slumped down, burying his head in his hands. "Then what about Shu Qin? Should I just stand by and watch her marry into the countryside?" For a moment, the pride deep in my bones almost made me blurt out, "Since you can't let her go, then help me find a job. I can support 2 children in the city and will never interfere with you and Huang Shuqin being together." But just as the words reached my lips, I suddenly remembered how Chen Sanjing became increasingly successful in my previous life. His son used his connections to build such a large business, and his daughter was so well cared for by him. He is a living money tree. It doesn't matter if I feel a bit uncomfortable inside, but the tangible benefits for me and the children in the future are real. The immediate difficulty is that the money Chen Sanjing gave me has almost been spent, and I still have to prepare food for so many people every day. I feel very frustrated every day buying groceries and cooking, But this irritation completely vanished when Huang Shuqin once again came running to his door in tears, the little girl with red-rimmed eyes, just like last time, tugged pitifully at Chen Sanjing's sleeve. "Brother Sanjing, have you come up with a plan yet? My father only gave me a month, if you—" Before she could finish, a voice interrupted, crying at such an age, "How shameful, Uncle San. Who is this? She's really pretty. I know. Isn't this the woman Xiaoman mentioned, the one who wants to become third uncle's stepmother? My mother said that women who covet other people's men are all cheap." "That's right. My mother also said that only shameless, lowly women would covet other people's men and think about going to their homes to be stepmothers." The children from the eldest and second brothers' families, having grown up wild in the countryside, spoke without any restraint. Huang Shuqin, who had been on the verge of tears, immediately burst into genuine sobs under the assault of these words. "Brother Sanjing, I've never been insulted like this in all my life. Today, being cursed at by a few children like this. I don't want to live anymore," the child of the eldest brother insisted relentlessly, eagerly stepping up to be a stepmother. "In our village, she'd be cursed by everyone. It's only in your big cities where people don't care about such things." Huang Shuqin dashed out in a flash. Chen Sanjing stamped his foot, glared at the children, sighed, and hurried after her. "I took out the candies I had bought for Xiaoman a few days earlier and rewarded each of the children with 2. The clever, sharp-witted child said, "Auntie, don't worry, if she comes again, we'll curse her just the same. I no longer feel the slightest bit of difficulty about cooking again. After all, Chen Sanjing's salary is about to be paid, and it's just a matter of adding a few more pairs of chopsticks." Being able to scold Huang Shuqin and Chen Sanjing so freely has left me feeling incredibly satisfied. Chen Sanjing came home every day with a stern face, and no one paid him any mind except for my mother-in-law. Under my guidance, my elder and second sisters-in-law repeatedly brought up the benefits of going to work and earning money to their husbands. Earning an extra income truly brings so many advantages to a family. So, big brother and second brother naturally brought up the matter of arranging jobs for the 3 of us. Chen Sanjing lowered his gaze, lost in thought, and didn't respond for a long time. I reached out directly. "We're almost out of money to buy rice at home. Do you still have any money left?" Chen Sanjing stood up abruptly in anger. "I just gave you money last month. How could it be gone so quickly? Anyway, I didn't buy peach shortbread for that young man, and I don't know how the money was spent so quickly." Zhuang immediately leaned in close to Chen Sanjing. "Dad, did you buy peach shortbread again? Next time you buy it for that pretty sister, could you also get some for me and my sister? I've never tasted such delicious pastries before." Everyone's eyes turned to Chen Sanjing's face. He closed his eyes for a moment. All right, isn't it just about arranging work? I'll go take care of it tomorrow. I'm telling you, Li Sui, can you give me a break? Ever since you came here, I've been more exhausted than during a war." I deftly divided the steamed egg custard equally into the children's bowls. "Of course, when you were out at sea, there was that little nurse who was so compatible with you. Now, having to face this old hag every day. No wonder you're tired." Chen Sanjing was so angry that he didn't even eat his meal and turned around to walk out. Without even lifting my eyelids, I called out to everyone to eat and drink as they pleased. "Sister-in-law, second sister-in-law, eat more and rest early. When you go to the factory, present your best appearance to leave a good impression on your colleagues." At the thought of going to work, the families of the eldest and second brothers were filled with joy. And even the mother-in-law was brought to laughter. The next day, Chen Sanjing, who had been missing all night, indeed took us to the clothing factory. My eldest sister-in-law and second sister-in-law were responsible for cutting the fabric, while I was in charge of folding clothes and quilts. Having been accustomed to farm work in the countryside, we quickly got the hang of this light and easy job. Every day, we got up early to cook for the children, went to the factory after breakfast, picked up the children after work, and then went grocery shopping and cooked together. Both my 2 children and I had noticeably rosier cheeks. After my eldest brother and second brother settled their accommodations, they also moved out. Before leaving, my second sister-in-law quietly pulled me aside. "There's something I've been holding in for a long time. Don't think I'm being crude. Men, Well, they're all pretty much the same. I know you feel uncomfortable. But if you really want to use your third brother's influence to pave the way for your 2 children, you can't keep holding out like this. Men need to be coaxed, your husband and wife. After all, if you drain all his energy, what's there to fear about him going out to find some little vixen? Besides, as long as the marriage certificate isn't approved for a day, he won't dare to get involved with anyone outside for a day. Think about it simply. He's been drifting at sea for 8 or 9 years. At this point, even Pig Bargy would look like Jiachan to him. And you, although the words may be rough, the reasoning isn't. But my second sister-in-law's words were just too crude. Mother-in-law couldn't get used to living in the family compound, saying there were too many educated people here, and she was afraid that as a rural old lady, she might make a fool of herself and embarrass Chen Sanjing. So she moved out with my eldest brother, every day, while I cook, take care of the children, study and learn to read and write with them, and work. The words my second sister-in-law said before leaving would echo in my ears. What do I really want? Chen Sanjing is a man full of vigor and vitality. Even if there were no Huang Shuqin, there would still be a green Shuqin or a red Shuqin, if I can't win his heart. Sooner or later, both my 2 children and I will face the same situation as in my previous life. But asking me to beg for affection from a man who has changed his heart, I just can't get past that hurdle in my heart. Ever since Huang Shuqin was pushed aside by a few children, she hasn't been coming around the house anymore. But I heard from a few of the older sisters in the courtyard that Huang Shuqin's father never actually arranged for her to meet any country folks. Instead, a wealthy businessman has taken a liking to her. One of the older sisters cracked a melon seed and said, "Sway sway. You're really lucky, aren't you? If you hadn't come, Huang Shuqin might have already married into the family. But now that she has the option of a wealthy businessman, as long as she's not out of her mind, she won't be fighting you for a man anymore." But the problem is, Huang Shuqin is exactly out of her mind. She actually went to see the big boss without any hesitation, saying that she was already Chen Sanjing's person, and if the big boss didn't mind, they could even get married. The big boss, known for his fiery temper, immediately cursed, "Damn it, I'm not some cuckold, it was her father who begged me to take care of her. I only agreed to marry her because her father once saved my life at sea, and now, look at this, I've become the cuckold wearing the green hat." In a fit of anger, the big boss cancelled the order he had previously arranged with Chen Sanjing. After thinking for a long time, I packed 2 jars of my homemade spicy pickled vegetables and went to Huang Shuqin's house. Seeing me, Huang Shuqin's parents immediately changed their expressions. "What are you doing here?" I handed over the chili sauce. "Uncle, auntie, I mean no harm. I came today because I'm worried about Sanjing. After all the hard work of making money at sea, and by the grace of heaven, he returned safe and sound. How can we let such trivial matters of romance affect business? I can't speak for other things, but as for Sister Shuqin's character, I believe that without a marriage certificate or a wedding banquet, she would never get involved with Chen Sanjing. Now that I'm here, I absolutely don't mean to come and blame anyone. I just want to be completely honest with both of you. I'm a country woman, with a son and a daughter, and the greatest hope of my life is Chen Sanjing. You can say I have no ambition, or that I lack backbone, but as a mother, I must put my children's interests first." Huang Shuqin's mother sighed, took my hand, and sat me down on a chair. "Zhuang's mom, we're both mothers. I understand your feelings, but my daughter's heart is completely set on Chen Sanjing, and we're worried too." Huang Shuqin's eyes were swollen. "You came to laugh at me, didn't you? To show off, right? If it weren't for you clinging to brother Sanjing, he and I would have gotten married long ago. You have no education, no skills, and can't help brother Sanjing at all, yet you insist on holding him back." Mother Huang Shuqin slapped her across the face. "Shut up, have you no shame? If Chen Sanjing abandons his wife and children today, he'll mistreat you tomorrow. Didn't you say Chen Sanjing wasn't married? If he's not married, where did this wife and children come from? Have all those books you read gone to the dogs?" Huang Shuqin covered her face and cried, leaning over the table. "I held my waist, auntie. Coming to you today was out of desperation. I'm pregnant, with 2 children, and in the city, I'm completely lost. My husband has been wronged, and the company's orders are gone. I really have no other choice." Huang Shuqin's crying stopped. She stared at me in disbelief. "You're pregnant?" I pretended to be frightened, carefully protecting my stomach as I stepped back. "My husband and I have been apart for a long time. Isn't it normal for me to be pregnant?" Huang Shuqin's mother sighed, wrapped 2 packets of brown sugar for me, and also gave me some dates and pastries. Zhuang's mom, "Don't worry, I'll take this troublemaker to the boss later to explain the situation. You're carrying a child, so don't overthink it. I promise this won't affect Mitsui's company. You can rest assured." I pressed the handkerchief soaked in ginger juice last night to my eyes, the spiciness making tears stream down. "Auntie, with your words, my heart can finally settle. Sister Shuqin, we're both women. I beg you, for the sake of the child in my womb, please give me and my 3 children a way out. You are beautiful, well-educated, and cherished by your elders. You have so many options, but I am different. I have little education, no abilities, and so many children that Chen Sanjing has to support." Huang Shuqin's face turned from green to pale. She bit her lip and asked, "Are you really pregnant with Chen Sanjing's child?" Covering my face, I burst into tears. "Chen Sanjing has been gone for 8 years. And I have waited at home for 8 years. What do you mean by saying that? Sister, do you doubt my character? Do you think I've been unfaithful to Chen Sanjing behind his back? I can't go on living. What's the point of living anymore? How can there be such wicked people in this world? Stealing my man, ruining his business, and now, in broad daylight, falsely accusing me of being unfaithful. I can't go on living." Huang Shuqin's mother slapped Huang Shuqin again. Zhuang's mom, "The child is upset and not thinking clearly. Please be understanding." Huang Shuqin wiped her face. Fine. Chen Sanjing is just wonderful." With that, she dashed out in a flash. Huang Shuqin's mother hurriedly chased after her. I put on a timid and aggrieved expression for Huang Shuqin's father, then turned and walked out of Huang Shuqin's house. That evening, Chen Sanjing returned home. He sat at the table and drank several glasses of wine by himself. "Are you pregnant?" "No." "Then you told Shuqin that you're pregnant." "Even though I'm not pregnant now, I already have 2 children." "What? The children I gave birth to before don't count as children. Only a child conceived now would count." Chen Sanjing threw the wine glass to the ground. "Is this the same thing? Zhuang and Xiaoman were both born before I knew her. Now she's waiting for me, even turning down a big boss for my sake, and yet you tell her you're pregnant. You're putting me in an impossible position. I would never give in to him. So what? When you abandoned me and the children, you didn't show us an ounce of kindness either. And Chen Sanjing, when you have nothing to do, try putting yourself in my shoes and think about it. I waited for you for 8 years. You've seen a lot of the world. And I don't believe you don't know how many women couldn't hold on, even abandoning their children. I raised 2 children on my own, with no news from you, not knowing whether you were dead or alive. And waited for you hopelessly for 8 years. Now that you're back, your heart is entirely with another woman. Have you ever spared a single thought for me?" Chen Sanjing was heartbroken. He began to devote all his energy to the 2 children. He would pick up and drop off the children morning and night, read and teach them to recognize characters, and when he had free time, he would take them out fishing. As for Huang Shuqin and the matter of marriage, he never mentioned them again. Sister Zhao from the family compound, who had always been well informed, leaned in close to me and said, "You're really lucky. That little nurse hasn't been bothering your Mr. Chen lately, has she? She went to the big city with a wealthy businessman. I can hardly believe it. Didn't she look down on that big boss before?" Sister Zhao leaned close to my ear. "A couple of days ago, didn't your Mr. Chen upset the little nurse? That big boss is wealthy and influential, and with the help of his family elders. I even went to see them off when they went to the big city the other day. Didn't you see how well they get along? Right in front of us, the big boss held the little nurse's hand and wouldn't let go." Finally, Sister Zhao leaned close to my ear again. "Sister Sui, we're both from the countryside, so I understand you. When my husband first came back from the sea, he even sent someone home to tell me he had drowned, just so he could marry a girl from the big city. Back then, my world had collapsed. I was stubborn and insisted on coming to the fleet to ask if my husband had left anything behind. Who would have thought that as soon as I arrived, I saw him riding a bicycle with that young girl. I went up and kicked the bike over. Later, when I made a big fuss, the girl ended up marrying someone else. Now, look at me and my husband. Aren't we living a happy and harmonious life? And now, I'm carrying another child in my belly. I finally couldn't hold back and asked the question that had been weighing on my heart for a long time. Sister, don't you feel uncomfortable about it? Back then, your husband was ready to abandon you and your child. How did you get past that hurdle in your heart? Sister Zhao looked up at the sky. Little sister, I had no one to rely on. My parents favored my younger brother, and my mother-in-law was harsh. If she had made me take the child back to the countryside to scrape a living from the soil, I definitely wouldn't have agreed. I couldn't have raised 2 children on my own. I could also find someone else. But given my circumstances, what kind of person could I find while raising a child? After weighing the pros and cons, it might actually be better to stick with my husband. Sister Zhao's smile was genuine. These days, whenever I've seen her and Boss Lee, they've been discussing things calmly and reasonably. If Sister Zhao hadn't told me herself, I would never have believed they had once gone through such a rough patch. Sister Zhao took my hand and said, Sister, think about why you came to the city in the first place. While Boss Chen is feeling down after his breakup, why not show him some gentle care and comfort? Wouldn't it be better for the child to have both a father and a mother every day? After returning home that day, I went to the market and bought a lot of groceries. I also put on the new clothes I had ordered from the tailor shop a couple of days earlier. Zhuang and Xiaoman both snuggled close to me, praising me for looking better. I smiled and asked Chen Sanjing, what do you think, Boss Chen? That night, Chen Sanjing and I talked a lot, reminiscing about some fun times before we set sail. Chen Sanjing pursed his lips tightly, saying, on the day I married you, I swore to give you a good life. Sui, can you give me another chance to fulfill that promise? Whenever you're in a good mood, let's go get our marriage certificate. Okay. The lights flickered, and as I looked at the children's school bags hanging by the door, I gave in. Let's see how you behave in the future. Epilogue. After Xiaoman got married, Zhuang and his wife also moved out. In the vast villa, there are only 2 of us. Me and Chen Sanjing. Over the years, our lives have been quite prosperous. To make up for it, Chen Sanjing has indeed treated me and the children well, just as he once said he would. Approaching 50, my hands are no longer as rough and cracked as they were in my previous life. My 2 children have indeed lived as freely and unrestrainedly as I had envisioned for them in this life. I took care of my in-laws back in my hometown, toiling in the fields to raise 2 children, while Chen Sanjing, in the big city, married a young and beautiful nurse and even had a lovely pair of twins. Rusu, seeing me just knitting a sweater without a word, Chen Sanjing sighed. Sui, you know how I've treated you all these years. She left without even saying goodbye back then, following the big boss. And I've long since given up on that thought. But the big boss once helped me at sea. He passed away young, leaving only this one son. It's often said that a doting mother spoils the child. But if something happens to this kid, shouldn't we lend a hand? As for whether the resentment in my heart has truly subsided over the years, looking back now after so much time has passed, I feel that dwelling on those things is meaningless. When I first came to Chen Sanjing from the village, it wasn't for grand promises of love. What I wanted was a good life. And indeed, all these years, I have lived very well, but knowing that my former love rival is having a hard time, I can always manage to eat 2 extra bowls of white rice. Murder demands a life. Debts demand repayment. He committed countless evils. What right does he have to beg for mercy? Why didn't you teach your child better back then? Chen Sanjing pouted, but in the end, he didn't dare to argue back. After all, in recent years, his leg injury has flared up again, and most of the time, he can only sit in a wheelchair. When I'm in a bad mood, my memory also gets worse. Last time, because he answered Huang Shuqin's phone call, I took him downstairs to get some sun, and then I forgot about him right away. In 30-degree heat, he was out in the sun for over 2 hours before someone called me, and when he came back, his lips were sunburned and peeling. Now, He always tries to gauge my mood before speaking or doing anything, afraid that if I'm in a bad mood again, I might forget about him.